Hey, what's up everybody? So today I have with me two of my very special guests because today we're going to be talking about the world of anime and manga, what it's like nowadays, the new series, what's going on in the industry, a lot of cool stuff. With me I have today James Hansen and Savage White Panda. James, start off introducing yourself, please, lad.
Yo, what's going on? The better British man in this call that we've got going on here. Fuck you, Panda.
Excuse me, the returning king of the British anime reviewers, is here to drop down some serious thought.
Okay, you guys suck really badly, but
fuck off.
Alright, so, let's start off, because right now one of the biggest things, and I know everybody's gonna type in the comment section, here he goes talking about Dragon Ball, but let's start talking about Dragon Ball, what's going on in the world of
Dragon Ball.
So right now we're in the Universe Survival Tournament. Things is hype as fuck. I'm really enjoying the shit out of it. I think it could be the same for both of you guys as well. And I guess let's start talking about a little bit just of what are our expectations for it and what are we hoping to see come out of all of this tournament. So Panda, I guess let's start off with you. What are you looking forward to most for the Universe Survival Tournament?
Especially what I'm looking for the Universal Survivor arc is exactly just how many brand new characters we're being introduced to. Like, especially, like, I'm not fully caught up yet to, like, the survival stuff and all that, but I have been seeing a lot of really interesting things, and one of my favorite things is, like, we've got so many gods of destruction, we've got all of these fighters, like, there's just so much of the variety right now, where a lot of the times it's just been, oh, here's one big bad guy that we've had so far, super, and the fact that we've got so much characters and returning characters from, like, Universe 6 and stuff like that. I'm just excited, like, we're going to have just a big tournament again, and I really am looking forward to it. That's probably my biggest thing so far and all that. I can't wait to catch back up with Dragon Ball Super, especially.
What about you, James?
Let's talk about that opening, because what that opening gave me, especially seeing Goku do his, like, red aura with this Goku black smile, and then seeing him have that fight against the mysterious character, just goes to prove to me that through that fight, they show Goku go from, like, obviously normal, he's not in Super Saiyan or anything, then he goes into Super Saiyan Blue, and the mysterious guy has, like, the red aura as well, so he's powered up as well, and then Goku goes into that little transformation, and then he's normal again. So I'm thinking, are we going to see a different transformation that doesn't particularly have an aura, but more just is like a silent chi energy that just doesn't show itself, and it just powers up Goku in a very calm yet aggressive fashion that changes his personality? I think that'd be really fucking cool to go into. But overall, loads of characters. I'm so hyped. I mean, I'm not so hyped for Universe 9 with the foxes. They look a bit
Hey, Majin Buu with that smile though.
Majin Buu is about to start throwing hands, and it's going to be
great.
great. So I'm pumped for
an
that.
important thing, Roshi pulling off the shades. That
Yo, I gotta just say this. I need them. One of the biggest things I need from this tournament, so I can say, yeah, Super is really, really taking it there, is those Jackie Chun type of moments that Roshi had.
I hear non-stop about this stuff, and it makes me really want to keep going back to the original Dragon Ball. And like, just that, and I'm glad you brought up, like, the opening, James, because I absolutely just love, like, how it even starts up, you just literally see Goku, like, just fighting,
The
going
squad
ham.
lineups,
Yeah,
the squad lineups. It's great.
If people know me, I'm a weak for squad lineups. It's my weakest thing, because it's the coolest
when
shit
you got
ever.
the crew walking in, you got 17 and 18 coming in. You're repping the tracksuit bottoms,
Oh, I love what Super's doing at the moment. Just it's so good.
Yo, now one question so that we don't focus too much on one series, but I gotta ask, what is you guys' opinions on the Omni King, or not the Omni King, I'm sorry, the Grand Priest being the big villain of all this, and he's actually evil and he's setting things up? Do you think he's the big villain? Do you think we haven't seen the big villain yet? Is it going to be the Clown God of Destruction? Who do you think is going to be the main antagonist of this whole arc?
I definitely think the priest, purely because, like, obviously we know for the angels especially that they need to survive with the god of destruction or whatever, and the Omni King isn't really a god of destruction, so it doesn't matter if his end goal is getting rid of the Omni King, for example, because he wouldn't be affected by it. I don't know what the goals are, but he definitely does give off that impression.
What about you, Panda?
I was gonna say, like, the angels, like, if I remember correctly, with the whole thing that we got explained during the Goku Black arc, wasn't it that the fact that when a god of destruction has been taken care of, the angel goes asleep? I'm wondering, like, well, I imagine the whole world would just blow up if, like, say, like, the Zeno got taken out or something like that. But wasn't there, like, an article, like, a very long time ago saying that the one of the biggest villains was gonna have, like, white hair or something? So they could be referred, like, to the Grand Prix.
Well, but I think that could have been Zamas. That's the thing, because we did have Zamas, and Zamas had white hair. So it could be that he was talking about Zamas. It could be that he was talking about the Grand Priest. But that's something that... Yeah.
I mean, because he clearly he's way smarter than what Zeno is, because Zeno is a child. He's just a child. That's all he is. And, like, he clearly is smart, and that he clearly, like, feels like he could manipulate things if he wanted to.
And now we have two gods of, not gods of destruction, I'm sorry, two Omni Kings. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's a big... because you could see between the two Zenos that one of them is a little bit different. One of them is older, for starters, because he comes from the future. Also, one of them maybe has been in solitaire more so than the other one, because he didn't have Goku to come to him, 7-8 years prior and actually find a friend and things of that nature.
One's experienced friendship, one hasn't. So, like, the two are acting very differently. The whole reason where it's like, I want to see, like, people fight in a tournament. I want to finally understand what's going on. So it's going to be interesting, like, how really Zeno is going to be playing into this arc. Like, because we still don't know, honestly, too much about, like, this character. Like, how he could just, like, react in any time. Like, what if he just loses it and starts crying and wants to blow up all the universes?
That'd be crazy. So, yeah, a lot of awesome stuff going on in Dragon Ball. Let's turn our gears over towards, let's talk a little bit about the world of Boruto and what's going on right now. We have a lot of exciting stuff, though, that's about to start off with Boruto. The manga is going into a new arc that hasn't been from the movies yet, so that's something to look forward to. We also have the anime. It's coming out in April, and that's going to be an original story as well for at the very least the beginning of it. So we have a couple of exciting things. What do you guys think, though, of the fact that it took 9 months to get to this point?
Can I, like, just say this, at least? Oh, thank fucking God, we're finally done with the recap! Like, I understand why it was there, Thor. It's the same thing with Super as well. Like, Super, they recap to stuff, like, to material. And they did say as well that they're staying as well, like, in the anime, correct me if I'm wrong, that they're going to be doing new material first. They
Yes.
never said, like, we will go back to this, because I'm sure they are going to go back to this stuff, that they're going to do the same thing what Toei did, but at least they know already from the start, and the fact is, like, it could have been dragged on for much longer. There are pluses, but I really want to see what this new material is. Can I just have Kawaki, though? That's the only thing I want to know at the moment.
Yeah. Here's the thing real quickly, though. The difference between what Super did and what Boruto did is Super, at the end of Chapter 4, was already introducing Champa and going into new shit and things like that. So it was already only 4 chapters, less than half the time of what they're doing with Boruto. On top of that, the Resurrection F chapters were coming out with the movie, which wasn't even really connected to the Super manga. It was just kind of like, well, that already happened. So in basically 4 chapters, we was already up to date and, entering new stuff. 9 chapters of a recap was way too freaking long. What do you think, James?
I'm glad we actually got rid of all this recap. But my question is because something that Kishimoto said in an interview was more like, people are going to be expecting, what we had from Naruto. Bigger, badder enemies, bigger feats and explosions and chakra and all that stuff. But unfortunately, Boruto is kind of bringing it back to its roots. So for me, I just hope more than anything that we go for a more developing route rather than, the whole kind of rehash of the Naruto story, if that makes any sense.
I think the first chapter coming back and getting out of that recap for the manga at the very least, we need at the very least the ending of the chapter to introduce Kawaki, assuming that he actually was a kid that grew up in Konoha with all of them, or, we've known him for a long time in the story, something along the lines of that. We need him to be introduced fairly soon, so that way, because I don't know how long they're going to do Boruto, if we're going to see him as a kid for a long time, or we'll go through a time skip for the next chapter and Boruto's already like a teenager. I don't know what they're going to do.
Do you think we'll have that relationship again, like a Naruto versus Sasuke relationship with these two?
It seems so, because I mean, look at how in the first 4 pages, I mean, granted that's only new stuff we got, but Boruto did look like he was upset. He also, Kawaki referenced you're gonna go the way of the 7th Hokage, so we're all on the assumption that Naruto's dead, and the fact that Boruto has Sasuke's headband and things is just in complete chaos, you can assume that Sasuke might be dead too, which we're gonna put quotes on dead because they're probably not dead. They're probably in the Phantom Zone. They're probably sealed
I don't
away.
think Jump would allow it at all.
No,
Yeah.
they're too
character
popular.
to die.
I mean, if anything, we can think about this new anime material that on a plus side, it could actually give us some more content about Kawaki. It could even give us, like, this whole thing where they're comparing them to Naruto and Sasuke. We can have more of the reason, like, if this arc is going to have him in it, then it's going to give us more time to have that kind of, like, relationship between, like, Kawaki and, like, Boruto, like how Naruto and Sasuke did as friends, because, like, all we've ever seen of them is, like, with swords at each other's throats, coming at each other. So I feel like we need to see them, like, as first as friends, and hopefully this anime material will be the thing that does it.
Maybe the anime will do original material that the manga might skip out on, and then it'll give us more context. I don't know. Either way, again, I think it's just a very, very good blessing that we're finally done with Boruto Naruto the movie, because I honestly had no faith for the anime up until we heard this. I was just like, are we really gonna be going through this? Like, if they did 9 chapters of the manga, who knows how many
With
episodes
filler.
kill me.
Oh, God.
So
I think we're all in agreement, so it's gonna be there regardless. Like, we're gonna have that, and I think we are gonna have filler with the Boruto stuff. Hopefully, like, it's good stuff, because you never know sometimes. Like, there is good Naruto filler.
there's still a lot of stuff they could focus on. I mean, we got Mitsuki, we have Orochimaru. There's, stuff that they can focus on that we'll actually care about. And of course, if they focus in on the adults from time to time as well, that'll be a plus, seeing some Hokage Naruto, adult Sasuke, things like that. I hope they don't completely, like, I want them to do the way they did in the movie. We focused a little bit on, adult Hokage Naruto, adult Sasuke. Get a little bit of them in there. Not too much, because it is Boruto's story now, but enough where it's like they're not completely excluded
Have
from
them
the
be
plot.
like they're passing the torch, but they're not there to steal the show.
Yeah, I agree. So now let's turn our gears over towards, there's not too much to say, but there is a couple things we could talk about regarding Bleach.
Here we go. Just James.
I didn't actually think you were going to
James,
do
just
it.
talk to yourself for 20 minutes. Enjoy yourself.
So Bleach, at this point, we're kind of just grasping at straws for anything. It looks as though, honestly, Shueisha, Shonen Jump, and everybody involved, and James will tell you a little bit more about this because he actually had an interesting experience going to Japan and kind of seeing what it's like over there at the, the heart of it all, the anime scene in particular for Bleach especially. But there's really not much, unfortunately, that comes out of Bleach, but there is a passionate fandom. The 2 big things that we have going on in Bleach right now, you could argue 3, but one of them is about a year away from now. We have the novels, or the 2 novels, so I guess 2 things technically, but we have the wedding novel, We Do Not Always Love You, and then we have the other Hisagi one. I don't remember the name of the Hisagi one. Do you?
There's no name yet.
It doesn't have a name. And then we have the live action coming out in 2018. This is pretty much the core of what we have, and we have some tweets from time to time. We did have something interesting recently that James covered on his channel regarding one of the people from CyberConnect 2. As a matter of fact, James, kind of give them more, because you know more about all what happened recently.
Oh, with the CyberConnect 2, the guy, the president himself, just has spread his love and support for series like Gintama and Toriko and Bleach before they ended, especially on Bleach's terms, and he's expressed how much he wants the 1,000-Year Blood War to come back. So he hasn't been shy in Twitter and other blog posts talking about how much he, loves Bleach. So with the recent post that was up on Twitter about his quote-unquote co-worker or employee drawing a picture of Bleach at a late night after office hours, kind of stirs up a bit of controversy. And yeah, this could be a hobby of his employers, but the question is why did you delete the tweet? Is it because you didn't want to excite the fandom, or is it something more than that? And of course, the fandom will always question, because we're very hopeful people and we've taken enough L's. But I don't know. What do you think, man?
It's interesting because I think, honestly, again, down at Shonen Jump and Shueisha, they aren't passionate about pushing Bleach at all. I think that much is pretty much obvious at this point. And I think, honestly, the guy from CyberConnect 2 would, as much interest as he's shown in Bleach, I think he does want to do something. I think he would love to make a video game or something, but there's just not enough support and passion, and I think they just really don't believe in Bleach anymore for whatever reason, even though it was down to its last volume, still selling millions, still in the top 15, top 20 selling manga. So I don't understand what their logic behind it. The only thing I could think of at this point is Kubo really messed up some personal relationships up there, and they don't care to do anything.
Something definitely happened.
Because there's no other
That's
reason.
so sad though. Like, he still was pushing a lot of like, he was still in the top 10s, like, if I was right, like, with, like, even with, like, the fact that he had no anime, like, he's clearly pissed off an editor or something in Jump, and he was still pushing it, and it's a shame that, like, we don't really are going to get anything for Bleach after, like, 15 years, and it's just, it feels like such a shitty way for it to, like, finally end this such long reign, as well. It's like, here you go, here's a light novel, and here's, like, one, like, live-action movie that, like, spoiler alert, is probably going to be dog shit.
Well, all we know from this point is that the next light novel is coming out in spring, so people can get excited for that. Something I learned very much through talking to people over in Japan is that the live-action Bleach movie is essentially Bleach's last, I guess, essence to prove itself. Not like it needed to, but if it is a very marketable movie and it is well recepted, then there's probably going to be some more stuff for the Bleach franchise. But if this does flop and that doesn't succeed well at all, then Bleach fans, you can probably kiss any new content goodbye. The good thing is Brave Souls is still doing well. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, but how long for is the question.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because I think, you know, regardless of how much we may goof on Bleach, you know, or personally me, you know, I'll goof on Bleach or whatever, we're all fans of it. We all enjoy it, you know. And
of course, like, we all love it here.
It's a shame that the way things went down wasn't, you know, to our liking, but it is what it is. I guess let's start switching our gears over. Let's talk a little bit about something that has, up until, I would say, the latest chapter, was coming under fire yet again, big time. Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail.
Oh boy. Oh,
Woo.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my neck out to the guillotine right now.
So Fairy Tail, the anime, let's just, you know, go over the, you know, overall things. The anime still hasn't come back. It ended, I believe, early 2016, if I'm not mistaken, around March time.
Yep, I believe you are correct.
So, you know, it's been almost a year, no anime. We have news of the movie coming this upcoming week. So we have the Fairy Tail Dragon Cry movie coming up. And, of course, we have the manga. And I think we have a couple of side spin-offs that Hero does from time to time. So we have still a decent amount of Fairy Tail stuff. It's not completely over. From what I hear, from what James has told me, Fairy Tail in Japan really is non-existent. It's not that popular at all. You rarely see Fairy Tail stuff. So that's a shame.
Not from the surface, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the like confirmation where I was like, I am not surprised by that at all when I heard about that, because like a lot like some other series as well, like that we know and all that, like Fairy Tail is way more popular in the West than it is over there in Japan, which like when I heard about that, that's no surprise. Like also we've heard like different stories where, you know, like the opposite, where like Gintama is like insanely huge in Japan and like hasn't got a Western market, or like it's hardly interest on there. But like the fact is there is a lot of Fairy Tail content coming out, regardless, you know, with the manga still like continuing on. It is now its longest arc, which, you know, the recent chapters and all that, they've been debatable. I mean, I still like the last chapter that we had and all that, is still enjoyable, but we've got so much content.
Up until the latest chapter, and what I'm referring to, the latest chapter was where Gray showed up at the end to the base, and he's seemingly, you know, all injured, about to fight against that person. I'm trying not to spoil for people that, you know, aren't caught up or whatever, but up until that chapter, the Irene chapters and Erza chapters, honestly, were horrible. You know, they were just bottom line horrible. I don't know, because I know Panda really loves Fairy Tail. I don't know where his mind is at.
Yeah, okay, like this is the problem where I've had it with like so many people, and like where I've debated, where I'm not gonna ask, like, saying like Fairy Tail's the greatest thing of all fucking time. Hell the fuck no. We can all agree with like about that. However, where like I feel like people do go overboard with some of the shit that Fairy Tail does, I still think as well, like, no one can deny like how great the Irene backstory stuff was, like finding out all about her, like, which is like one of Fairy Tail's stronger things, is that it actually gives you good things like backstories on characters. It's just whenever it comes to actual fighting, and it's like that's where it fucks itself up. Like, I would have been fine if Urza went just down to the ground after the whole Irene thing. That was it. But no, it had to keep going on, and, you know, because she's Urza. Like, it's
I gotta throw in this, Panda.
Please do, please.
Does the means justify the end, because the end, the backstory was great, you know, and everything, the smile and all that shit towards the end was awesome, but the means to getting there, which was the fight, does that justify it?
Yeah, that's the problem, where it's like I think a lot of time I would say no, because like, you know, you want that payoff, don't you? You want to be like for a fucking fighting series, you don't want big, like, a big action shonen and the biggest problem for it is its action. Like, you shouldn't be saying that through a series where the biggest pride through a fighting series is its fighting.
I still say it makes sense, but the
Not at
presentation
all.
and the execution was bad.
Yeah,
It does not make sense. Somebody...
Great concept, bad execution.
Somebody with broken bones, besides like their fucking arm, should not be able to take out a meteor, drop down, slash a fucking dragon, and like, no, I don't think that makes sense at all.
I would have been so fine with it if it was just her taking down the meteorite.
Yeah. No,
That
totally.
was it.
I agree.
Like I even said it so many times in review. I was fine with that meteorite coming down. It's everything after the meteorite I had severe problems with.
She should not have had the strength to get up after being stabbed.
No. And here's another thing too. We seen in the Dragon arc when Erza was not Erza, when everybody was fighting the dragons, that it was pretty much almost impossible. Barely some of the dragon slayers themselves with their full-on potential magic, everything could do shit to the dragons. Correct, right?
You've seen people like, even like, regardless, like the second and the third generation dragon slayers, fucking Natsu, Gajeel, and like even Wendy, like, it's like they were having the hardest time going against these dragons. And the fact
Can we argue though that Eileen wasn't a full-breeded dragon?
Okay,
Well,
so by that logic, then Acnologia is weak.
Yeah, you can argue that, like, with that as well, and then also as well, that would make no sense, because the fact that, like, Igneel was weakened at that point, but he still beat. Like,
and she was a dragon for 400 years. She had that, like, she just had that illusion, but she was a dragon for 400 years. So
big, like, and like, obviously, like, because we can't just go on about Fairy Tail forever, because Jesus Christ, we could do like a full like hour and a half just talking about this is the problems with there. I can. And I can go about it because I love it, but at the same time, I can admire like how fucking shitty problems it has sometimes.
I would just say this: as much as I really, because people think I'm a hater, because no, I'm not a hater. Like, even the latest chapter.
We've had this arguments back to back, and we still say we enjoy it, but I can see exactly where ForneverWorld's coming from. Do my like bias and like am I a bit too much fan base to a series? Yeah. But then we've also said, well, you do that with Super. James obviously does that with Bleach as well. We're all guilty of the same like thing, just different series.
Yeah,
but it brings a good discussion.
Yeah, I think honestly the straw that almost broke the camel's back, because people don't know this, I haven't said this in a video. Literally, if the latest chapter wasn't what it was, I was going to drop doing Fairy Tail reviews.
I was really surprised when you told me this like the other day, and I was like, oh, that really was like the reason to drop it. And I was like, oh no, I feel like there have been worse things that have happened in Fairy Tail.
Yeah, but it was a culmination. It
was just to add. It's just like, why the fuck am I reading this? It's like, this is one of the biggest setup, like one of the biggest fights that was like set up for a good couple of chapters, and it's like, this is what we got out of it. So I can see it. I think there were like there are worse things to happen in the series to drop it for, like obviously like the Grand Magic Game stuff and like what have you.
Okay, now the tables are about to be turned, because now I think perfectly the segues into, let's talk some One Piece. And I love One Piece, honestly, it's amazing to me. But these two, they're not the fondest of One Piece.
Oh boy! Oh no! So me and James here. We always get our asses blown out because we always have something to complain about.
No, let him go on.
But let the man. I'll let the man speak for it.
So One Piece, we just had, just to set the stage of what's been going on One Piece, we just had Film Gold been airing in different locations. It came out in the US, so we have Film Gold is actually coming out on Blu-ray soon, and the Heart of Gold. So we have tons of One Piece stuff, everything.
Gold was great.
One Piece is all over the place. The anime is still going, obviously. I don't think any of us watch it at this point. I think
all I know is that they literally just went off the giant elephant. That's all I
know. We normally just jump in for those key moments to see if they do them justice, which, it's come to that, and it's a shame because I was reviewing One Piece consistently for 3, 4, 5 years, something like that, and it just got to a point where I just couldn't deal with the slow pacing anymore. It's unfortunate because, again, I'm a huge One Piece fan. I really, really love One Piece, but the manga right now, it's on fire to me. Panda's not quite caught up, And
No,
James,
however, though, due to the fact that a friend showed it to me, I have actually seen pretty much the entirety of the latest chapter, and I got feels out of that, seeing that, because that, even though it's pretty much the same as the Nico Robin scene, like, you know, saying, say you want to live and all that, I still got mad feelings for that, and I ain't even fucking caught up, and I still got feels for Sanji.
so I guess I gotta ask one thing regarding James. I know you do enjoy One Piece. I know you know you like a lot of it. What have been your problems with One Piece the past, I don't know, let's just say few months?
It's not that I have problems with it. It's more that it is essentially nitpicking to a certain degree, and it is my personal opinion on threat levels. I have a very difficult time looking at these goofy characters and finding them scary or powerful because of their appearance and how they act, or their certain quirk that Oda gives it to them. And again, that's not a bad thing. It's just, for me, for someone that likes series like Dragon Ball, Hakusho, Bleach, or any other series that has good character art when it comes to enemies, I look at One Piece, and sometimes it has that with things like Crocodile. Like, Crocodile looks fucking awesome, so does Doflamingo, but you have people like Cracker. Like, I just can't take it seriously.
How? What's wrong with Cracker? I honestly, I'm curious to see, what was your problem with Cracker? Was it just his design or
just the design, the ability? It's goofy. It's really goofy.
But
like,
that's One Piece. It takes
I know
goofy
it is.
things and makes them epic.
Totally. But it takes good writing, and it takes time for me to get into that character and be like, do you know what, I can fuck with it. Like Senor Pink, that character design really just didn't mold with me at all, but it took me a while to kind of sink into it.
I can kind of see where you're coming from. It's why, like, I can guess it's why you like Impelled Down so much, because the guy, what's the main dude from that? Magellan?
Magellan,
yeah. He's like, I can see James liking that design, because that looks like a threatening character.
Yeah.
And a lot of One Piece characters, from what we always see, you know, they always look really dumb or goofy, and that's, you know, Oda's style, and it's always, you know, colourful and stuff. So I can kind of see that, where it's like, this is the big baddie everyone's got to, like, shit themselves for, and he looks like a goofball.
Like, look at Brule. She just looks like an old fucking witch. Like, I don't find you intimidating at all.
I do gotta say, I think that's very, very, very nitpicky, and I don't know.
Nitpick.
I mean,
it's
like, okay,
is.
you say, you know, you have a problem with Cracker's design and abilities, correct? But he's one of the foot soldiers for Big Mom, and Big Mom, regardless of how nasty she looks or whatever, she is the overall threat. It's like, don't wake mommy, don't wake daddy. So you might have these silly things, which ultimately Cracker did. It was silly, but at the same time, when, you know, let's just say when the armor broke off, he had a sick design. He looked pretty cool, and ultimately his ability is doing creative things. Maybe it comes across as a little bit wonky or goofy, but he's taking something as bland as crackers. Like, he's literally taking something like, what the fuck, you taking a food, and using it as a weapon.
It is definitely unique, and I can't take that away. It's just the overall presentation of it. Like, I'm always down for unique abilities and how you use those abilities in a fight, but just some things don't match up to me. Like, Luffy had to go Gear 4 and he defeated him in one punch, essentially, which makes sense. It's fucking Gear 4. But then people are telling me that Luffy can't take out Big Mom, and to me, Big Mom seems like the kind of Yonko that is more she has military power rather than she is powerful herself, because I see...
But she got the homies.
Yeah, she got the homies.
She's more political. She's got more politically strong.
Yeah, I do
like
believe
Kaido,
that she...
strong
I do
in
believe
general.
that she is... Like, when I say Luffy can take out Big Mom, a Yonko, and people are like, no. Well, when is the time to take out a Yonko? Now is the best time than ever, because I think that she's got political power, and that, honestly, she's got... Well, Luffy's got Nami, who can manipulate her weather, so that will be redundant. Lightning isn't going to affect Luffy at all. I think Luffy's honestly got this on the front line.
Well, I think, obviously, Big Mom is going to be dealt with one way or another, whether it's that everybody involved, because there's a lot of parties, including Capone, that he's trying to sabotage her from the inside, seemingly. Big Mom will be dealt with in this arc. And personally, I would say that One Piece, honestly, for the past 3, 4, 5 months, minus maybe the latest 2 chapters have been a tad bit slow, has just been great on the pacing, great on everything. There are some, it's not perfect, like the Chopper moments, as if, you know, anybody listens to my reviews, I think that Chopper really was just being filler and being annoying and kind of disrupting things for a certain amount of time, like during the chapters. But overall, honestly, in comparison to like Dressrosa, where Dressrosa felt like, oh god, it was dragging on for so fucking long.
It was way too long. Way too long.
I'd say this arc bodies like Dressrosa up until the ending, because obviously Dressrosa's ending was amazing, Gear 4th. But yeah, I mean, One Piece, I don't know. I've really been loving it, again.
No, the past 3 chapters have been fantastic. Conveniently, when I was on holiday and I couldn't talk about it, but it was fantastic and I really did enjoy it. And I love this whole Sanji shit as well. I think it's really developing for him.
Yeah. Sanji stuff has been amazing. Honestly, One Piece, for me personally, I have really, aside from like maybe little small pacing issues in the latest couple chapters, I have no complaints with it. I've been really loving it. And again, I've complained about the tontatas. I've complained from time to time, but I think Oda's doing an amazing job with the latest arc.
Pudding, best girl, 2017.
Fuck Pudding. I hate
we're not
Pudding.
getting into this.
Pudding's amazing.
Yeah.
Dude,
All right.
You see them puffy cheeks? Come on.
Let's turn our gears now towards My Hero Academia. Now, I'm not sure where everybody is at. I'm
I'm
caught
2
up.
chapters behind.
Besides today's chapter, I'm pretty much caught up. I gotta watch or read today's chapter. Let's talk about the world of My Hero Academia, what's going on right now. We have Season 1 is about to come out on Blu-ray and DVD in April in the US and probably UK and Canada and all that stuff. We have the new season of the anime that's starting off with recap episode 0. I think that's I understand why they're doing it, because they're switching channels, but that's so disappointing.
Oh, wait, that's the reason?
Yeah, they're switching channels.
Yeah, it's switching channels.
Oh, I thought it was just because they didn't have enough content. I thought they were doing like a season 1 again. Oh, I'm glad, because I was now about to be a moany little fucker then. We're saying, oh, what the fuck did they recap? Okay.
Yeah, it'll be at the end of March. We'll get like an episode 0 for season 2 that recaps season 1, and then we'll go on and so forth. So I'm not really mad about that. I'm not watching the recap because I could give a fuck, but I'm not mad about it just because it's not taking up an episode slot. Although I'd argue that depending on how they do their recap, they could have used those resources towards the actual series. But
I will,
that's not
because
the
they usually touch up stuff too, like from the Blu-ray releases that I've seen.
I think they did say they are going to do new scenes as well. Like, they're going to like touch up scenes, and like there's going to be new scenes. So like the episode.
Oh, so
0.
that's good then. Let's talk about pretty much what's going on right now. Okay, so we've had the introduction of the big 3, these 3 top tier UA students, and we have stuff going on with All Might and stuff like that. Honestly, I guess I want to talk about something that's actually happened a little bit prior to all of what's going on right now, even prior to that exam thing, because honestly, for me jumping in reviewing it, I started reviewing it again back in the exam portions, and it wasn't the most exciting to review. I know people say it's great for character development and all that good stuff, but personally, I think the arc that we got afterwards would have been a more suitable thing to come after the incredible stuff we had with, hold on, I don't want to say it wrong because I always say it wrong. All for One. I think I said it right. All for One. Yeah, because I always say one for all. All for One versus All Might. I guess I want to ask the question, do you think All Might should have died? Should he have died right there?
Yes, absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Why do you think so?
Because it shows you how serious this shit is. Like, it makes Deku realize, okay, I seriously need the up and ante to have that drive to do something.
It would have gave them more motivation, wouldn't it? To like finally push, I need to become the #1 here and now. Now the fact that he's still there and he's mentoring him, it's like, it would have forced Deku a lot quicker, I feel like, to grow up.
To play devil's advocate, because I do agree with you guys, I think he should have died as well, but to play devil's advocate on this, in a way, don't you think it's better the fact that the symbol of hope and justice is gone? All Might, he can't use his powers anymore, he can't save nobody, he could hold that form for what, 5-10 seconds at best at this point or whatever?
Yeah, he doesn't like really. I will say this, like, I can understand the way, like, why he did this, because there's something less dignified about All Might slowly going out like this, and the fact that like someone like Endeavor, who was like, I wanted the chance to finally surpass you, and he got robbed of that opportunity because he couldn't do it on his own. He just default became #1 hero because of this thing. Stuff like that I find interesting in Academia, but I still personally think he should have died.
So, like, again, I'm conflicted as well. I have more for him dying rather than against, but I would say my little bit of against is seeing how the story has gone, how, All Might has been able to help Deku kind of realize his true way of fighting, for example, using kicks, and just you know, being able to mentor him properly kind of says, okay, yeah, he is still developing, but he's not going the cliche Deku wants revenge. So I'm kind of two sides.
Yeah, it could have easily gone that route.
So I'm kind of two sides on the fence about it, but I'm more for him dying.
So I guess one thing, which I'll probably have my own video talking about it, but I wanted to just touch up on this real quick. One of my things with Academia that is kind of a little bit of an issue I have with it is the threat level of the villains, because aside from the more so grand ones that we've had up until this point, again, All For One, hopefully I said that right, All For One, and the Hero Killer, Stain, those were some great villains, but I mean, I'd even put, while the message was better with Stain, and Stain was overall a better villain, the threat level that Stain had, like, you know, if Endeavor would have showed up, Endeavor could have bodied him.
Yeah,
and that's one of my problems, where even though the latest, or the second latest chapter, where we had, like, you know, there's now 2 groups of villains and stuff like that, it still doesn't feel like they could put up a major threat towards the big villains. Like, you know, All For One was really the only guy that showcased, like, yo, I mean, look what he did to All Might.
I'm going to disagree there, because I feel like what Stain does really well, not Stain, but the rest of the villains
Shigaraki
as well.
and them?
Yeah, Shigaraki and that, is that they do very good coordination of, like, fighting in groups and using their abilities together. So I found that really unique. Even though they are technically small fry, you know, I like that they actually use strategy.
But it makes me question...
They think more into the overall strength, though, if that's what you're trying to say.
Okay, look at it from this point of view. The villains, those villains, like, if, let's just say All Might was still at his prime right now, and he showed up with Endeavor and a couple of other big fries, these guys would be toast. You know what I'm saying? They would run for their lives. Yeah. They would be helpless and stuff like that. So what would be the point of all of this development and everything if at some given point Deku, Bakugo, Todoroki, all of them can get to that level of Endeavor and All Might, and these small fry villains, what threat could they possibly accomplish?
We're hoping that they can develop as well.
So essentially it's giving a different dynamic. You know, I'm just trying to, for everybody,
yeah, totally.
It's giving a different dynamic. Instead of just they're already set, we're also seeing a different side of, while the heroes are growing and developing, the villains are growing and developing. Instead of just having the villains already established, you know, credible threats, they're more so growing with the heroes.
And we're also seeing why they're a villain too, which is interesting.
I think it makes the world feel more alive, though, because it isn't just, oh, point A to point B. Like, it isn't like, oh, we just got to stop it. I like that there's multiple threats. Like, there's not just the big villain associate, like, in there. There's other small little things that are trying to fuck them up. I guess that's, like, one of the Academia's biggest things, like, I really do like, is that, I know, it makes still, like, near every single character, like, they have a purpose or something, or it's there. Like, it makes the world feel a little bit more alive than, like, other series would do.
I mean, I still would argue that I would like a couple more of the all-for-one type of characters out there that just have this incredible strength that one day, you know, Deku needs to train up to be able to, you know, stop him. Because I think even at this point, you know, like Shigaraki would get bodied if, you know, Deku and them really tried hard. That, you know, he doesn't have that, oh my god, how can we possibly stop this threat level yet.
So I had a question then really for you. So like if that's the case and all that, like especially for you two, do you think like the author like put out like he went full guns blazing too fast then? Because it sounds like the All For One was fantastic, but he showed him a little bit too early for where the current level of like where Deku and everyone is.
Possibly, yeah. But then again, I also think that it would have been more suitable for All Might to die and everything had that been like chapter 200. You know, if it would have been built up and everything would have happened chapter 200 where we had 100 more chapters of development and stuff like that, it would have worked better and it could have introduced even more credible threats and all of that good jazz. I feel as though it was too early when he introduced that. I mean, the Hero Killer, that was fine where it was. I just think that All For One felt like the climax of villains, you know, the strongest of all.
It's this thing we've been set up since like near the start of the series, and it's weird to feel like, although it's going to come back at some point, it feels weird that it's kind of concluded at the moment. Like, it feels like it's like, oh, this is something that's been fully settled at the moment compared to like this is something we was expected to be way, way more in the future.
I kind of saw it as like an old era coming into a new one.
That is interesting. Yeah,
that's a really.
That's kind of like if Madara came into the Boruto world or something like that. All right. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much all we needed to say about Academia. I guess we'll touch up on like one or two more series to wrap this up. Let's jump into Attack on Titan. We have a couple big things going on for Titan. Of course, they had the live action films. Now we also have season 2 that's coming up in April. I believe April 1st, actually. April Fools, no. But we have season 2 finally coming, and the manga is seemingly reaching a huge climax. And I'm really interested to see where it's going to go now. We have a time skip. We have a lot of different things that it's going to be interesting. So I guess one of the things I got to ask you guys, first of all, is if they did some sort of part 2-esque type of manga, like a Shippuden or a Z version for this manga with a time skip and kind of a different outlook to it, would you still be interested in it compared to what was initially established of it being like, we're being terrorized inside these walls by these monsters on some Walking Dead type of deal?
Most likely not for me.
No, I'm gonna have to say, like, it's alright, because it's a hard thing without trying to get into spoilers. This is kind of one of the things where me, and especially, I know Life Another One is like the only one out of the three of us that's co-opted it, but it's a kind of thing with where, like, I feel like if, like, you take out the big threats of the series, like, with the hairy Titan and, like, a bunch of the things that need to be resolved and stuff like that, like, I don't feel like there's enough material for Attack on Titan to do a Shippuden. Yeah, it feels like we needed to make this because, boy, Attack on Titan was really popular. We really want to keep that brand name, though.
Yeah, I don't think Attack on Titan has the story to really push itself beyond what it needs to do. Like, it can't go on long enough.
Perfect example was, look what happened when they did the Human versus Human arc. Everybody started complaining and didn't want that because what we were introduced to and what sold us was, how do we defeat these monsters that have us locked in these walls and we're terrorized? And if it goes, again, without giving too much spoilers, but if it goes into like a world war type of deal, it's going to definitely feel like a different manga, especially if they do like, a whole big dramatic change or something like that.
I'll accept a series before the events where, like, we had the what was it, the No Regrets manga, and we had the Before the Fall. That was it, Before the Fall. I'd accept that because we get to see how it happened, but I don't see it going anywhere after.
Like, you can go anywhere in the between, like, say, like, oh, this takes place during that, like, where we had, like, Ilse's journal, we had, Before the Fall. Like, I feel that works more for Attack on Titan. I'm fine with that. It's just, like, I think Attack on Titan is fine the way it is, whereas, like, it's really, I'm really enjoying it right now, currently. It gets a little bit dialogue heavy here and there, but, like, that's like Attack on Titan, it does that sometimes.
Unless they pull some shit where it's like, oh yeah, somewhere else in the world, something else is kicking off, and you didn't see how they deal with it,
And, I mean, overall, it seems as though Attack on Titan probably has, like, a year or so left, and I think, honestly, though, similar to, like, what I was saying with One Piece, I think ever since we got out of that human versus human arc, especially, like, I want to even argue maybe the last half a year to a year of chapters, Attack on Titan has been amazing. It's been truly back to what we really loved. I mean, the end of the last arc and even the start of this arc, everything is looking really exciting, so...
The flashback especially was really fucking good. What we found out about, like, the history and everything, the reveal of, like, what was in the basement and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a Titan, although this is just me, we got a Titan bench press in a fucking ship, which is the coolest thing to me.
Magi, real quickly, been absolutely amazing too. I've been loving Magi. It's going to be interesting. Unfortunately, it will probably end by this summer.
Mojana's waifu for life.
Just quickly, Panda, without giving spoilers away, just sell us and I guess the listeners on Black Clover and how awesome it's been right now, because I've been hearing amazing shit.
Okay, because like I thought you was gonna say sell us on Magi, and I was like, well, that would take an hour. But like with Black Clover, like one thing that like Black Clover, and to really go in without spoiling it, is what I've loved so far, like the latest chapter, especially the one that came out today as well, like 98. Like one of my favorite things about it is that it will do the generic thing where it's like, oh, here comes the power up, but there's a twist. And then even with the twist of the power-up, there's another twist. Like, I think the best thing about Black Clover is now that it's breaking into its own shell is the fact of what it's doing. It's especially, it makes you think, oh, here comes the generic shit, and then there's always a twist, and then another thing above it. And just that, and just the characters overall are just really enjoyable. Like, that. And the action's been great. Obviously, it's hard to say without any spoiling, but all I can say is just Black Clover's really good right now. Just read it, guys. It's worth it.
So it's no longer a carbon copy of like every shonen out there. It's starting.
I mean, he's still
dual wielding.
I mean, he's still dual wielding. There's some hype shit right now, but I will still say, like, there is still stuff. Obviously, it takes from other fucking series. Like, let's not fucking lie about this over here. Like, we've got Espadas and shit like that in here. We got Naruto,
McDonald's, Kurosuchi.
yeah. Oh god. So I ain't gonna act.
Has he got a Nemo at all?
I don't remember his name.
There probably is. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Grim Jow or something there
Nice.
somewhere. On there, like there's like there's many things on there. Like Black Clover is without his faults, but what it does right, it does really fucking right, and that's all I have to say on Clover. Just read it or wait for the anime. I'm pretty sure they're gonna adapt up to this point.
Oh yeah, the anime. I forgot about that. Black Clover should be having an anime soon. I don't know if they're gonna do
Wouldn't be
spring,
surprised it does it to up to here. Like they do 100 chapters, boom, there you go.
Okay, so I guess let's quickly, Seven Deadly Sins. I'm really hoping that this flashback ends soon because while it's awesome and all that good shit, it kind of just feels like we don't really need to know this just because there's only really like one thing that this flashback can kind of show us that we don't already know. But I mean, Seven Deadly Sins has still been pretty awesome. I think slowed down a bit after that big major death, which I won't spoil who it is or whatever, but we had that one big major death, and then since then it kind of been a little bit slow, although we did have that one epic stare down, if you know what I'm talking about. Praise the sun,
we're talking. Yeah, we're talking about Mustache Man right now. But
Yeah.
it's like I will say, if anything, like to not spoil about like the recent stuff. I think with the current opponents that we've been looking at right now, I safely say I think they're probably going to be the next big thing that the gang is going to have to face off against.
Probably the final villains. Maybe like we'll have, because Nakaba I believe said he had 3 arcs planned, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the first arc, which obviously we did and all that with the knights and everything. The second one with the 10 commandments, and then obviously I won't say what the third one is in case no one's caught up, but still, like, I think they're going to be the next threat. So Sins has been good. I think it's dragging on a little bit. Like I do agree.
This flashback needs to come to a close.
It comes to a close. I don't think James, you're not caught up at the moment
I'm
with
not caught up
Sins.
in the moment, no.
No, you've seen some real good shit though at the moment. I do know that. So trust us, it's good right now. Could wrap up a little bit quicker. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, and lastly, Tokyo Ghoul Re. It's been awesome. I know Panda's main gripe with it is the art.
I love the content. My biggest gripe is like the art. Like I think the art, without being really bad, I think the art looks really bad at the moment. There are a few exceptions to the rules, but I think the art's kind of really turned downhill. It's my biggest complaint.
Yeah, for me, I don't really have too many problems with the art, to be honest with you. There's every now and then it looks a little bit too abstract. My problem, as I said in one of my latest videos about Ghoul, is, oh my god, I can't remember the names of all these characters.
Dude, I'm in the same boat. I can't remember so many of these. It's bad when I keep forgetting the main villain's name.
Furuta.
I can't, like, every time. I don't know, maybe it's just because he just looks like everyone else where he's just a dude in a suit. Like, it just doesn't help. Like, that just goes to show, maybe I am crazy with the whole art thing. Like, that's just my personal taste on it. I just think it looks really just rough and just, like, really edgy and, like, scratchy. And it's just...
Okay, here's a question.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Well, here's a question. If there was to do more Ghoul anime, which one would you prefer? A season 3 with Re, or a complete reboot from the ground up?
Season 3. Even though, like, people complain about Route A, which, we can go fucking hours without that shit. I'm fine with Season 1. Obviously, it would have been nice if they added a few little things and all that. At the end of the day, it's what got us into Ghoul.
Mm-hmm.
I still love Season 1. I would love Season 3 because there is some content that I really, really want animated in there. And it's a shame that some scenes never got into it from the manga, like, eradication and stuff like that. But it's like, I love Ghoul for what it is. Like, even like a thing like the art won't change the fact of like how much I've thoroughly enjoyed this manga, and it's sad to see that maybe it has like another year or so, like if it's gonna wrap up or not. Like, depends how far the manga wants to go.
What about you, James? You want a reboot from the ground up or season 3?
I would very much prefer that. Very much prefer that. Route A does not exist.
Yeah, Route A is honestly, it has some really awesome moments, but for the most part, it is shit. Yeah.
Yeah. When all that exists is season 1, the manga, and then read.
Even if they did like a little recap on like the first, if they did a reboot, like the first few episodes, and they just like got everyone to speed.
What if they did like a Hellsing Ultimate? Like, what if they like did it in an OVA form instead?
I'd be disappointed,
be
but I'd
fine
be
with
fine.
that?
I'd be disappointed, but fine overall. Just that we're getting more Ghoul, and I love the Ghoul anime, especially season 1. Again, like you said, it got us into Ghoul, and I adore it. I know it has its problems. They didn't mention the RC cells and the RC gates and training of Kaneki and stuff like that, but overall, I still love season 1. And I mean, I would be fine with a reboot. I think it would be a little bit daunting to go back through some of that content, because especially I've seen Ghoul so many times already, but
It feels way too early for like a reboot. Like, you know, something like Hunter x Hunter that they like took numerous years to get another adaptation. Like Ghoul came out like season 1 like
2014.
2-3 years ago. Is it 2014? Jeez, like no, that's way too early, man. Like
I think
no.
in 2 or 3 more years they could do another one. I mean, look at Full Metal Alchemist. It was only about, I want to argue, 4 or 5 years in between, maybe 6 years in between the first anime and the remake of.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it wasn't that long of a gap, so it's possible. I mean, either way, Tokyo Ghoul is still amazing content, great written stuff.
It's great. It's great. Nothing's ever going to change the story.
And yeah, that's it. This long podcast. I don't know how many people got into this point. If you did, I really appreciate the fuck out of you listening to me and my friends talk about some animes and mangas. But yeah, that's all we have for this one. James Hansen, Savage White Panda. There are links in the description below. Any last words you guys have to say?
I have crippling depression.
Hey. Good sales, man. Good sales. Panda?
Like screaming into a monkey's ass.
Hey! And with all
Thanks for
that
having me
being
on, man.
said, yeah, no,
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
no problem. As always, people, I'm ForneverWorld, and have an awesome day.
And peace out.